last weekend by, of course, tonight's opponents, St Helens. Hull are going to need a dramatic improvement in form if they are to challenge for a playoff place. Meanwhile, Saints will look to continue their great run of form and perhaps climb to third place in the table. When you think that some people were doubting the idea of 5 in a row, Saints are looking ominously impressive now. But until Josh Griffin got himself sent off last week, Saints were being given a game by Hull FC, weren't they? Can Hull do anything to improve on that and take it a step further tonight, Terry?
Well, but it was a big, brave effort, I thought, from them last week. You know, until Josh Griffin got sent from the field on 40 minutes, they were competing in everything they did. In fact, you look at the last 11 minutes, there was nothing in the game. And then all of a sudden, the Saints just go and get the job done. But Hull FC throw the ball around. This is what they need to do. They need to try and chance their arm, because that left edge for me, for Hull, looks a real concern. And I'm sure that's where Johnny Lomax will be going in this game.
Truman launches the first kick of the game. Wellesby's underneath it. Clifford is bearing down on him. Very cunning piece of shepherding by Lewis Dodd there on his full-back. And Wellesby gets the job done.
Well, early on last week against Saints, John Wells highlighted it, how quick they were off the line. Brad Fash in particular, just chopping Alex Walmsley down before they could get going. They need to do exactly the same. No Makinson, no Percival. They normally tackle 1, tackle 2, that gets Saints on the front foot.
Yeah, Saints having to make some changes, Hull having to make some changes after that. Paul Wellens giving John Bennison his chance tonight, which is good to see.
It's a nice shot, that, wasn't it, from Hull FC. I think they've got to just go and get them, haven't they? It's hard to erase and get rid of the memories of last week. Confidence maybe slightly shaky.
Dodd's kicks, Shawley's underneath it, Sirinen arriving, Shaw does well. His second appearance of the season, the only other one was in the Hull derby on Good Friday, which didn't go well. 40 points to 0, Hull FC were beaten.
Well, Hull FC must have confidence in the experienced Jamie Shaw, and it may well be that David Litton, who's had an outstanding season, will swap and interchange with the fullback. So in attack, you might see him spring up in the middle.
There's Danny Houghton making his 427th Hull appearance. Houghton. Cervello, there is Danny Houghton, just gone past Joe Oliver into 5th place in the overall Hull FC appearances table as Clifford booms that ball out and it comes out of the hands of David Litton.
Well, there was a number of times last week that they went to that side and it was Adam Swift that was on the wing, and they made a couple of errors early on in the game, but that's what Clifford's got. If he sees something, he'll go there, and like Barry said, very good player, David Litton. And I wasn't being disrespectful before, and I'm talking about what Saints are going to be looking at. If you look at Cameron Scott, David Litton over on there, there's no Griffin, so they put Joel Overdoer in the back row.
Bit of a muted atmosphere here at MKM Stadium. The Hull fans, after the cup disappointment last week, possibly a bit down about the prospects for this season. The side 9th in the table, and their playoff hopes a fairly distant prospect. That ball's been spilled. Shaw tried to come away with it. Jack Smith says we'll take the first knock on, which was from the Saints. Hull will get possession.
You know, there's some really good signs here. It's Jake Truman who gets up off the line quick. I agree, Tez Wellesley pointed it out before the game. Prior to kick-off, line speed and getting into the faces of St Helens will be advantageous for Hull FC, but when they get the ball, it's important they don't use all their energy while they're defending, but when they get the ball, we saw, I think it was the first set, using the ball, passing the ball, and they're not afraid, as we saw with Jake Clifford, to throw it really wide as well.
No Scott Taylor for Hull FC in their pack tonight, so Lingy Sow starting, having been on the bench for the last 3 games. Joe Lovadu, who's missed the last 5 games, also getting a starting call from his coach. There is Lingy Sow. Just signed a 2-year extension with the club. Truman, Cervello, and they get it to Darnell McIntosh, and Bennison, good tackle. from the 20-year-old. Just his 10th appearance of the year. They're coming to this side again, and Cervello wrestled to the ground. Benison in there again. He's been involved early on here. Now Truman with a little kick. Clifford is chasing it. Claimed, batted back. Clifford with a try. McIntosh won the challenge in the air, and Clifford was alert to the opportunity, and Hull FC get the start they needed. His 6th try of the season. Really neatly created by this Hull FC side. That's the boost they needed.
Well, that's it. They needed that big start, like you said. Bill, that was a great kick and a great catch under some pressure. Darnell McIntosh, you see so many times that players go up in the air and they don't catch the ball, they look to pat the ball back. You see when he gets this, he's looking at the man who he's going to give the ball to in Jake Clifford. And it's a big start for Tony Smith's black and white men. This is exactly what they needed to give them some confidence. If you take 5 players out of their starting 13 last week, that's an enormous amount of talent to be missing, but they've managed to be first to score the points.
It's really smart from Jake Truman. Bill, you mentioned the fact that John Benison had got involved in those 2 previous tackles. He was out of position. That meant that Will Hopoate was exposed. He was on his own. Benison almost tried to shield and get in the way of some of those attacking players from Hull FC. Great start from the black and whites.
Jake Clifford, who missed the Challenge Cup tie against Saints, having picked up a head knock against Lee in the previous defeat, making an impact already in this disappointing season thus far. Jake Clifford has been one of the shining lights for this Hull FC side. Can he land this from the sideline? Just shades it away. But Hull strike first. 4-0 they lead.
Well, just watch John Benison, too keen, over keen, ends up in the wrong position. He's not where he should be. He tries to shepherd Jake Clifford, who keeps in support, and it's a great start down. Darnell McIntosh finding the hooker.
So that's a positive start for Hull FC, and might lift the mood at the MKM Stadium.
You know, all they need to do is start well, don't they? Show a bit of commitment, like Tony Smith said, execute your players, and you'll soon get these fans on board with you.
They're long-suffering supporters at Hull, aren't they? I mean, there's so much expectation at the club.
Every year.
And it's not very often delivered on, is it?
Well, every year you look at the rosters with a number of teams who do that, and you think, right, they should be doing well, but big city stadium like they are, it's the red and white side of Hull FC of Hull that are doing so well at the minute.
It's a good carry from Hull FC, but champion sides and St Helens have responded and reacted with good defence, good intensity in defence as well, led by Morgan Knowles, who probably has had instruction from Paul Helens, go out there and set the platform for me.
Clifford launches that one downfield, and Wellesby comes across and shows Benison where he wants him to run. But there's a Hull reception committee. That victory in the cup here last weekend for Saints against Hull was the 16th consecutive victory over the black and whites. Over 6 years, Hull fans have waited to see their side overcome the Saints. Will tonight be the night? Not many people are thinking it will be.
Well, they must be getting closer to a victory, mustn't they? And you know what, Bill, they can't go away from doing what they've just done in that last set of 6. Run hard. If one of your teammates get banged, just go as hard as you can, get to your kick, and then come up with a defensive set that your coach is going to be proud of.
Wormsley playing the ball, and then Lou McCarthy Scarsbrook starting tonight, having missed the last 2 games. Cervello's tackle, that's a teasing kick. Shaw comes for it, but it's claimed by Saints. It was Wellesby who got there first and then lost possession.
Well, the referee said it's a contest in the air. I don't know, you've almost a case to say that Jamie Shaw tackled the player in mid-air, and then there was a strip.
Well, he knocks the ball on for me, Jamie Shaw.
Yeah.
He knocks the ball on, he strips it, knocks it forward. That should have been Saints' ball.
That was Risky.
Uncalled for 10 metres from your line. When there's a Saints wall in front of you, I totally agree with you.
But the lads said it before the game, they can't just grind and expect to compete with Saints. They've got to throw something different.
They're throwing something now. Here is Carlos Tuimavave, ducks under the challenge from Hopewati. But Dodd was there. Here is Jamie Shaw. Shaw, ball back in field to Tuimavave. Tuimavave offloads, but straight into the hands of Lewis Dodd. And somebody was offside.
Yeah, well, he picks the ball up in an offside position, doesn't he? Lewis Dodd. Looking to offload the ball, that second phase rugby. And it's nice play, isn't it? You go into contact, Carlos Tuimavave, one of the best in Super League. He gets his arm free, offloads the ball, did it come off Curtis Sirenen?
Just look at the numbers Hull FC had on the short side. Obviously, that's something they've spoken about during the week.
Here's Lingy Sal, pounced on by Wormsley. And Morgan Knowles, Danny Houghton, Clifford, Truman, Cervello wrestling with Knowles, and Knowles will not let him go. Dodd Sirenen in there as well. 30 metres away from the Saints line they are. Lingy Sal once more, keeps it moving, Clifford. And it goes to Cam Scott, who's tackled 20 metres away. 3 tackles gone, Clifford, Lingy Sal, but Sal again cut down. Very quickly up on him, that time was Curtis Sirenen. Houghton spins the pass for Truman. Truman, quick hands, very quick hands to Darnell McIntosh, and forward hands as well.
Only just, isn't it? He's got a fraction of a second to pat that ball on. Defenders in his face. Yeah, it's definitely forward, but, you know, you've talked about nobody expecting Hull FC to win this. There are people that expect a good performance in black and white shirts, and the 17 that are on the field, as long as they believe that they've got a chance. And when some of those 50-50 calls, those bounces of a ball start to go your way, your confidence improves, your belief starts to grow, and then who knows?
Well, Hull's belief was growing, wasn't it? I mean, that magnificent win against Warrington at Magic, they'd won, having lost 7 in a row, they'd won 5 of 6, and yet some of the air has gone out, hasn't it, with that defeat against Lee, and then the cup defeat. First sound of the set restart hooter as Conrad Hurrell rumbles forward. Louis McCarthy likewise ducks under the first challenge, and is that the first penalty of the game? Second penalty of the game.
He might be a senior
first
pro.
To Saints.
Sorry, Bill. He might be a senior pro, an elder statesman, but he's still got good acceleration and lovely footwork, and that's the reason he draws the penalty, moves and changes direction, just collects an arm, a bicep, and he thinks, yeah, I'll gallop up those metres.
I just love the way he's having a conversation with their referee even as the tackle's going on, isn't he, Louis? Here is Alex Wormsley. Had a big game here last weekend in that cup victory. Knowles, Lewis Dodd, here is Louis McCarthy, Scarsbrook. 37 years of age, but his enthusiasm for the Saints' cause undiminished. Dodd back inside to Matty Lees, and Lees Fash with a good tackle down low.
His technique's very good. He's not the biggest, but he certainly cuts him in two.
Saints looking to respond. Here is LMS.
Cervello is throwing himself into this game, isn't he? He's had a big start.
Knowles. Dodd, little grubber kick, but it's picked up by that man, Cervello. And Cervello is off and hasn't got the pace, but he's got the distance.
Well, he wasn't expecting Morgan Knowles with the old rib tickler from behind him. That's good play, though, isn't it?
Well, something Danny Maguire said in the build-up to the game, if your team is scrapping, getting your head and your body where there's balls and boots flying, you've got a chance.
Cam Scott, the whole supporters roused, set restart signalled. Here is Lingy Sal, changes direction, goes back across the field, floats a pass out to Joe Lavadua, stumbles Joe Lavadua. They've got plenty of tackles to play with this set. They don't need to panic. Here is Lingy Sal. For the first time tonight, the whole fans finding their voice.
I was just going to say, here you go. This is what will inspire those players.
Clifford's, Shaw, here is Tumavave, tackled by Will Hopewate. Shaw once more, Joe Cater runs into the solid defence of Walmsley, LMS and Siren, and down the short side. Oh, Cervello, little dummy, Saints weren't falling for that. That's the fifth tackle. Houghton, no look pass. Tumavave! Carlos Tumavave! Third try of the season for him. And what a rousing start this is from Hull FC. And having stopped Saints at one end of the field, Andre Cervello has brought them up to this end. And Carlos Tumavave has got the try.
Unstoppable, that close to the line. Some lovely deception around the play of the ball. But Cervello, only moments ago we talked about his impact in the opening 15 minutes. You know he's not going to run the full length of the field. He takes the tackle, he plays the ball, and then from that passage of play, a really brave, courageous run from the captain. Head down, body on the line, and that's the first try for the captain.
And the coach is on his feet, as well he might be. Carlos Tumavave, who has the distinction of being one of Hull's longest-serving overseas signings in his 8th season with the black and whites, and Old Faithful is ringing around the ground.
You talked about the crowd inspiring the players. I actually think they've inspired themselves. The commitment to the game has raised the crowd, and then that will perpetuate the confidence and the belief within the ranks in the playing squad too.
Jake Clifford missed with his first attempt from a bit more distance, this time on target. And Hull making an impressive start to this contest. 6.5 minutes gone, and they lead Paul Wellens' side by 10 points to 0.
Well, no panic at all, and he was a strong performer last week in the cup. Carlos Tumavave, look at that, he beats Dodd. He gets on the outside of Curtis Sirenan, and that's just good play from him. Dodd comes up, he steps off his right, goes through the gap, the fans are delighted. And also, you've got to say that Andre Cervello showed some maturity as well when he got the ball 10 metres from his line. Knew that he was just trying to buy some time for one of his teammates. They couldn't come. Took a bit of a belter from Morgan Olds, but he just had to get up and play that set out. Big start from Hull FC.
There's going to be a big response from Saints, you sense.
Yeah, no, and do you know what? People will be sat at their own thinking, right, okay, they're the champions. The reason why they're champions because they always can come up with winning performances. But for this Hull FC side, just back yourself. Like I said before, 11 minutes to go. Last week, they were losing by 6 points. Then they conceded a further 8 points, but that was with 12 men. And what they can do with this side, and with players like Danny Houghton kicking like that, that's a big kick.
Thought he was looking for a 40-20. It's still a good kick into the corner.
100%, you'd have that, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Kick on 4. Everybody knows it's coming. Let's get on our bike after points and put pressure back on the champions.
Benison running into a Hull reception committee. They are up for this, the black and whites. They are up for this.
Every tackle has been a dominant tackle. Knocking those Saints players backwards.
There's T. Rickson. The wingman making a bit of forward progress.
Only 20 metres made.
Walmsley can't make
There
much.
you go, and he's lost the ball as well.
And Hull will try and capitalise on that. Here is Tumavave weaving his way across the field.
Well, they're just not going to give them any space, any metres at all. Get up quick on Alex Walmsley before he gets going. Made 182 metres last week in just 55 minutes. You look at him, you look at Curtis Sirenan on the edge. He was over 200 metres passing in just 37 minutes. Like, he made massive metres, 177.
Lees and Lingy Sow having a nice tussle there. Here is Brad Fash just over that Saints 20-metre line. Danny Houghton, Evergreen, Jake Truman. in the side for the last 7 games, and no coincidence that Hull's form has improved since his return from injury. And Clifford just getting ahead of himself, I think, there.
Well, he just makes the mistake, doesn't he? But that was a good set of 6 from Hull FC. You mentioned about League of South getting into Matty Lees. Well, you don't mind that. I think that League of South feel the weight on the shoulders. No, obviously Scott Taylor, he's not playing. So League of South want to play big minutes against Saints and lead by example.
Saints looking for their turn to dominate in this game. It's been Hull's match so far, coming up to the end of the first quarter, and they lead by 10 points to 0. They've seemed to have had more of the possession.
Yeah, they have almost 65% of possession, Hull FC. And obviously points on the scoreboard to boot.
Lewis Dodd, Wellesby, here is Johnny Lomax. Ever present in that standoff position for all 17 games, Lomax. Wellesby likewise, ever present at full back, and that ball sails out of play, and then Clifford salutes Batchelor. Wellesby responds.
Gamesmanship, get into him.
Outrageous.
Look, every player will do that. Do you know, you want to unsettle a side, you've got to get into him. Whether that's defensively, verbally, it just happens. You want to unsettle the champions. And Clifford, look, he celebrates it. He rubs the head of Batchelor, who's been in outstanding form all year. And he was some real strike last week when they played against them. Scored the opening try after 6 minutes.
I'm going to disagree, Tez. I don't like that. I don't mind them celebrating the defensive win. But that's...
don't need a reaction from you over there on the floor. Because then we're going to get a reaction.
Over the top, that.
Yeah, mate, but then we're going to get a reaction from stage. You just leave
One or two involved in that discussion are not averse to doing that themselves, I would
and you
say.
don't want to antagonise, you don't want to provoke. Jake Clifford's a great player.
I'm going to go back and show Barry games of him playing. Do you know what I mean? Poacher team gamekeeper, he's going round in my head here.
Yeah, he wasn't that subtle, was he?
No, exactly. I was more like the one who was getting his head rubbed.
Minnie Sowers left the field, Chris Satai is on.
Lewis, come on!
Good start from the front rowers. Here is Joe Lovadua, making his first appearance since the game against Wakefield on May the 11th, the Fijian international. It's Joe Cater now.
And that's why I think when you look at Saints' pattern, the reason why they started with Morgan Knowles, maybe it's because they knew what was going to come from Hull FC, where they were going to be aggressive centre field. Good kick.
On 4th again.
The ball is batted down. The ball is batted down, and Truman might have got the try. McIntosh has got it back in field. I think it was. Jack Smith reckons it's a try. Wellesby was waiting desperately for that ball to run dead. It didn't, and it might be a try. Marcus Griffith saw this one out.
So it's tackle 4. We've got an on-field decision of a try. Can we go back to the kick, please, to confirm who's onside? Everybody is onside, so can we go forward here, please? So we're going to need to go to the contest in the corner. So the ball remains in the field of play. Can we just have that again, please? Just to make sure McIntosh's foot stays in the field. So we know the ball stays in, and McIntosh's foot stays in. You can see green between the boot and the line. So the ball then goes backwards. The ball remains in the field of play. Truman comes from... Right. Can we go back, please, to make sure that Truman's foot hits the field of play before he grounds the ball? So it's all of the player grounding the ball here. So we know this bit's okay, so we know it goes backwards. So Truman's foot is on the dead ball line at this point. He jumps from there. Can we have it tight really, really slow? We just need to confirm whether that knee hits the ground before the ball, before he touches the ball. So nice and slow here. As slow as we can go. So The knee is down, the hand is on the ball. Thank you, I've got a decision.
Well, what a one for Marcus Griffiths to untangle that is, because it was all about where Jake Truman came from before he got to that ball. And the decision is going to go in Hull's favour. Saints are mystified by that.
You know, you want a bit of luck, don't you? And Jake Truman, his foot was outside of the field of play, but because before he touched the ball, his knee had hit the ground, that counted him back in play. I thought they fluffed it for 1 minute. What about that from a kick? The chase again was exceptional. And don't give up on the kick. Excellent play from Darnell McIntosh. And you can see Truman, he gets back here, he's outside of the field, his knee hits the floor before he grounds it. Big play.
I'd love to think that Jake Truman is aware that he's jumped from the field of play.
And needs to get his knee down.
I'd love to think he's that smart. Love to think it. I tell you what, boys, I'm smelling an upset here.
It had been a lot simpler if he just left it to Carlos Tumavami.
Yes, yes. I'll tell you what, since he's come back, hasn't he sharpened up their attack?
Well, he's a busy presence. Saints with a lot to ponder here, finding themselves 14-0 down, 22 minutes on the clock, and Clifford lining up another conversion. Similar sort of distance and angle to the one he missed after his try early on. This time he is on target. And Hull impressive in the first quarter of this game. 16-0 they lead.
Well, when your team is in the mix and they're at maximum competition, they scrap and fight for everything. Never give up, even if it's a lost cause. And you're right, Bill, Carlos Tumavami is there. He has every right to get to that ball, but Jake Truman, with the competitive spirit and edge that he's got, thinks I'm going to dive on it. And he got away with it.
He did. A good job he did.
Hey, I tell you what, though, if you knocked out the cup 5 days earlier, who's the team that you'd want to play if you could?
Surrender.
It'd be Saints, wouldn't it?
Stand. Tackle one, James.
Most definitely in the player's psyche, player's mindset, you think, right, what have I done wrong last week? I want to put it right against the same bloke who's knocked me out of the cup.
And that's where an experienced coach doesn't dwell too much, deals with those negatives, doesn't dwell on them, but will often just boost the confidence, show the team and the players what they've done right. Let's do it again. Let's do it more often. And keep challenging and testing.
This is St Helens we're talking about. The champions.
But that coach has seen it 100, 500 times.
Fifth tackle, Chris Satai's brought down just inside his own half, and Clifford gets some air on that one. T. Ritson comes for it, doesn't want to know. And they're getting a terrible mess there, Ritson and Wellesby.
Wow, that ball, we all looked at that, didn't we? It was spiralling through the...
he never looked confident, did he?
Well, he saw exactly what we saw, Barry T. Ritson. He didn't go for it, he didn't want any part of it. And then the ball bounces, then all of a sudden there's a bit of panic between fullback and winger. Wow, big play, big play.
Look at Joe Cater's celebration there.
That's how you celebrate a mistake, Tez. No rubbing anybody's head.
So they've got head and feet at this scrum, bang in front of the Saints post. 20 metres away, the ball is boomed out wide to Davy Litton. And Litton, Ritson with the tackle on him, Conrad Hurrell there. And another opportunity for Hull FC against a Saints side who really haven't got going in this game. They've had one phase where they were threatening the whole line, and that was when Cervello spoiled the party. And mainly it's been about Hull FC, and it's about Hull FC again here now. Truman, the ball is spilled, and Saints almost capitalised. Bennison trying to get a hold of it.
The Saints
will get head and feet. Sorry, Barry.
Saints will get this ball. They've got up quick into the fullback's face. Had to do something. John Bennison, who's had a lot of traffic in front of him, as you can see, just does enough to put Jamie Shaw off.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Just wait for us.
So an opportunity for Hull.
Get in, lads.
Goes begging
5,
there.
6, heads in.
And Saints
Shot clock off. Ball, Lewis, out.
look to settle things down.
It's on the shoulder. Leave
Just
it.
to have their turn in the game.
Well, they've not been allowed to play, have they? Possession 65% in favour of Hull FC. And where they've been turning that ball over and getting to the kicks, and they've only missed 1 tackle as well. Hull, you look at Saints and they've missed 12.
6 again, 2 slow run.
Well, these set restarts though won't help them, Hull FC. If you want to keep them out, that's what you can't do.
It's a tackle on Sione Metaltia. And then
he dropped
ball's
it.
been knocked on by Curtis Sirinen.
Wow. Well, Saints normally so lethal when they can complete their set to 6. And you can see Andre Cervello, he can't get all the way, he's just getting up. And he's like clamping the ball and he's touching Cervello's body as he's just trying to spin out the tackle and get to his front so he can get up and play it, Sirinen.
Brad, you rooks, mate, get out of my command. Not when you fancy it, all right?
Just signed on a new 2-year contract extension with the club as Curtis Sirinen. When you think that was speculation, he was having such a stormy start to the season, wasn't there? Speculation that NRL clubs were looking at
It
him.
was unbelievable in the World Club Challenge, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He's been one of the best all year. He had a good end to the season. Was really impressive in the grand final. He's a good leader in the squad.
Saints have done well to keep him on board for another couple of years then. And his knock on, though, has put Hull FC in a promising position once more, and they get the set restart. Chris Satai, who'll be off to the Catalan Dragons in 2024, plays the ball. Truman back inside to Joe Cater, inching their way towards that Saints line as Houghton scampers off, gives it to Satai. Good job that Batchelor went down low on the big prop forward. Little rubber kick comes through and Batchelor's there again to save the day for Saints.
Yeah, good job, but he was alert, wasn't it, for that, because I think it was Johnny Lomax that stuck his boot out, knowing that they were under a bit of pressure. Tries to kick through it, ricochets off his right boot, and they get up with it.
T. Ritson has been on the wing for the Saints for the last 8 games, keeping his place in the side. Sione Metaltia, Hull fans in that East Stand reckoning that was a forward pass to the Saints man. Here is Curtis Sirinen now. Truman making the tackle down low. Cater, Cervello up top. Morgan Knowles in that hooking role for the first time since 2018 in a playoff semi-final against Warrington, which Saints lost. Not that that's any connection with him being the hooker on the day, but he's got that role. Lussick missing out tonight. Roby on the bench for the Saints.
Well, Hull FC now just coming up to the half-hour mark, play route 1. And then they go back to the kit. You've got Danny Houghton in there just pulling the troops onto the ball.
Brown's offload into the hands of Truman, and urgency in the Saints' defence. Houghton, nice little kick again towards the sidelines.
On 4th again, into that corner. And we obviously pay credit to the players, but Tony Smith, who's been in this game for a heck of a long time, we make it 629 times. A coach with all that experience, with all that knowledge, and the job he's done with his team this week is outstanding.
Here is Ritson, coming up to the half-hour mark. Hull leading by 16 points to 0. They led briefly in the Challenge Cup semi-final, quarter-final against Saints.
Good response, Chris.
But it wasn't to be. Lomax gets the ball away quickly to Welsby. Welsby onto Bennison. Bennison cuts back in field. There are bodies there for Hull FC. 5th tackle, and Dodd screaming for the ball. He's going to kick into that corner. Hopoate's going to challenge for it. So is Sirinen, but Shaw does well there.
Well, he's not the biggest, is he, Jamie Shaw? And I was quite surprised when David Litton, who had an outstanding game last week, was moved to the wing. But that's what you get from Jamie Shaw. You got that experience at the back. He's 31 next month. Still got a few years left in him as well.
He was actually caught up at marker before that ball was put in, and that kick was put in. Had his experience to draw on, ended up with a ball, and his side now benefit from a penalty.
I think it was James Bell, was it, who's the culprit? One of them.
Well, Lewis Dodd, I think, the man who's been penalised.
Both of them a bit mystified.
Up, yeah. Well, Darnell McIntosh is the man who's trying to get him out of trouble.
That's where you want to be.
He had plenty of metres out of backfield last week.
I can hit you again, I'll rush you. Must have cut out a bit last time.
So the penalty eases the pressure for Hull FC.
Tackle.
Here is Cervello. Has had a strong game against his former club as Andre Cervello.
Hold!
Made 42 appearances for the Saints between 2014 and 2016. But he's hobbling at the moment after playing the ball there, getting a bit of treatment.
They want to keep him on the field. He's over 100 metres already, running metres with 30 minutes on the clock.
Don't work him on the floor! 3. Out now,
Here's Jack Brown.
Ignatius, a step. You're pushing
Cervello seems to be mended. Houghton.
3. Still 3.
And here is Cervello. No rest for him.
4. Move Will! Square Will have all.
Takes the tackle again.
Hold, go, tackle 4.
Truman. Clifford stabs the kick through. He's been doing that all evening. Litton couldn't gather the ball.
Big tackle.
It's Cam Scott who's come up with it. 5th tackle. What will Clifford come up with this time? Kicks cross field. Tuimavave challenging for it. The ball is batted back. It's still on the last. It's still on the last, and Saints have it back. And then it's knocked on by a Saint, I think.
Yeah, Saints have knocked on. It's Curtis Siren. He looks to jump on the ball, pounce on it, but unfortunately can't take it in. Good offload. And Siren tries to go down under a bit of pressure from Jamie Scholl. From this offload, knowing it's the last player, gets rid of it. Siren falls on it, loses it. Another set of 6. Wow.
They're just competing for everything, aren't they? Whether it's a kick, a tackle, a break. Tony Smith last week talked about the effort, the commitment and the spirit, and that's how they've started the game this evening. That's the reason the fans appreciate what they're chucking up, and that's the reason it's 16-0 on the scoreboard.
Siren nursing a whack to his forearm there, and I think there was a boot he caught. Here is Clifford. Can be an elusive runner when he runs, Jake Clifford. Here is Chris Satai using his strength again and getting that ball down. Getting that ball down for another Hull FC try. Or is it once more? Marcus Griffiths, video ref, is called into action.
So it's tackle 1, we've got a live call of a try, we're just confirming the grounding, please. So at this point he is in possession of the ball. So the ball is in the arm and in the hand. Still in the arm and the hand, still in the arm and the hand, still in the arm and the hand, and the ball is down. Thank you, I've seen everything I need.
A quick look from Marcus Griffiths, not quite as quick as Ben Thaler in the decision-making process, but not bad for the video ref, who awards another try to Hull FC. And this one for Chris Satai, his second of the season. It just gets better tonight for Hull FC. 20 points to 0, they lead with the kick to come.
Well, Chris Satai has threatened that nearly every time he's carried the ball. He's left defenders on the floor, he's broken tackles. Of course, due to leave the club next week, but here, next year, sorry, Curtis Siren knocks the ball on. Another mistake for St Helens in this match. We make it, it's their 7th error so far. There isn't too much finesse, there isn't too much deception. He steps off that left foot, he gets down hard, low, drives towards the line, and just manages to plonk it down for the try. Magnificent from Hull FC. Simply magnificent.
Scored a try against the Huddersfield Giants in April. That's his second of this season, his final one for Hull FC. And Clifford, 2 more points from the boot of Jake Clifford. Hull 22, St Helens 0. You would not many would have predicted this margin between the two sides at this stage of the game.
You wouldn't have predicted Hull FC been in the game at half-time. Many people that I spoke to, and you can't knock the commitment, their endeavour, the spirit that they've got. The fans are really getting behind them. And Chris Satai just scores a try just because he was willing to get over the line.
But that was very uncharacteristic defending from Saints, wasn't it?
Well, I was going to say that normally there's a ruthless edge, but do you know, from Saints, when they're defending the line and the points are against them, the scoreboard's against them, that was un-Saints-like defending on the line.
And here is a man who has been at the heart of what Hull have done in the first half. Andre Savelio, and down on the sidelines, Gareth Ellis, assistant coach with Hull FC. You must be so proud of the side, Gareth, after the first 35 minutes anyway.
Yeah, really good performance. I think, you know, when you're playing against the best team in the competition, you've got to chance your arm a little bit, and I think we've thrown the ball about really well. But on top of that, I think we've kicked and we've kicked chase really well. You know, the fundamentals of the game as well, which have complemented that. So a really positive start. But as we all know, a long way to go in this game against a top quality outfit.
Exactly, Gareth. It's St Helens. You know that they are going to have their moment, don't you?
That's right, they will, and that's how good we are when they get their moment. You know, Danny Alton was speaking out there, just saying, you know, when it's our turn to defend, we've got to make sure we switched on. You know, it's all well and good playing with the ball, but we know there's two sides to the game, and we've done it pretty well so far. So a lot of the good stuff will need to continue.
Gareth, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
That ball's been lost. It's a knock-on. And let's go down to the sidelines. Hear from Jenna Brooks.
Yeah, Bill, just before you said that St Helens must be surprised by this start, I can tell you, I'm sitting right by them, they look shell-shocked. In fact, this is St Helens' biggest deficit since trailing 26-8, which was, of course, across the city at Hull KR on the 14th of April, and they lost that game 26-14.
Roby preparing to come on and galvanise his side, perhaps. He's been sitting on the bench, stewing, I would imagine, watching this unfold.
Yeah, just waiting his chance and to get the nod.
3 minutes of the first half to go.
Well, they don't want to concede any more points, do they? I think that's the big thing from Paul Wellens. But they don't want to go maybe 26, 28 points behind on the scoreboard.
Morgan Knowles was going to come off. He's got virtually to the sideline and he's been sent back. And he's not moving that freely.
I know the point you're making. I don't know whether it was an enforced injury type of exchange, but he's managed to get himself back up, hasn't he? He probably thinks the same that you thought. If we can get through till half-time, might just save one of those rotational subs and bring James Roby on at a more crucial point.
Can Saints find something before the hooter sounds as Hull is bundled towards the touchline? Did it come off her Hull boots on its way? Hull is celebrating.
I think Hull will get the ball. The dominance and the forceful nature of the tackle. Might be taking some information there. Or just watching what's going on after.
It's an handover, you want it? In the middle.
It's going to be a handover, isn't it?
That's good defence, isn't it? And Cam Scott, we'll just see how he just manhandles Conrad Hurrell. Makes so many metres after contact. And I said at the start of the game, I was worried for the left edge because they're missing the first choice in Swift, Sutcliffe, Griffin, Hoy. They all play out there. That's their attacking shape that they go to. But the way that they performed has been exceptional. Probably the best half of rugby that they've played this year.
Well, Hull haven't defeated St Helens since the 11th of August in 2017. When they won 8-6 at the Totally Wicked Stadium in a Super 8s fixture. Mark Sneed with a try and 2 goals. And they haven't beaten Saints on this pitch since March 2017.
They're playing well, there's no doubt about that. I'm sure Saints will talk about ruck control. 4 6-agains they've given away, and Saints are giving those 6-agains away because they can't manage to control the go forward of Hull.
But as well, that's right, they're making twice as many metres. Everything that they're doing, Hull FC.
There is Shaw. Shaw, a little dummy. Shaw beats one man, then booms the pass out to Litton. Litton, dive for the corner. What a finish from Davy Litton. Again, Jack Smith wants clarification on this finish, but that was a Makin-esque, Tom Johnston-esque, acrobatic finish from Davy Litton. Was it a try though? Marcus Griffiths is the video ref.
So it's tackle 4. We've got an on-field decision of a try. Can we just check touchline and grounding, please? So the player in possession sets off from it within the field of play. He now needs to maintain possession. There is separation there. So we can pause it there. There is clear separation. Thank you. I have a decision.
It would have been the perfect end to a perfect first 40 minutes for Hull FC, but it's not going to count because Davy Litton, in his desperation to get that ball down in the corner, has lost control, lost contact with the ball, and the try is disallowed. And Saints breathe a sigh of relief.
What a shame. That would have been an unbelievable finish.
Well, he goes for the impossible, but you've got to give credit to the defence as well for saving that try. Davy Litton, they go for that big play. Was there a pass on the inside though? I thought there was a play to go on the inside instead of the pass over the top.
Ignatius Passy and Saints, Lewis Dodd, Curtis Sirinen. But again, there are numbers there for Hull FC. Buzzing, jubilant at half-time they are. And well they might be. What a turnaround this is. Beaten by this side, this same Saints side last weekend and knocked out of the Challenge Cup. At half-time, it's Hull FC who are in charge of this one in Super League, leading by 22 points to 0.
Well, there he is, Adam Pearson clapping his side off. The Hull FC chairman, after witnessing a quite remarkable first 40 minutes in the opening game of round 16 of the Betfred Super League. They led 10-0 after 15 minutes, and then a special effort from Jake Truman extended that to 16-0. 22-0 at half-time, and plenty to discuss with two men who tipped the Saints, Jamie Jones-Buchanan and Danny Maguire. Team, are you sticking or twisting? Both went with the Saints beforehand. Jamie Jones-Buchanan?
I'm sticking, Brad.
Never right off the Saints.
I'm going to jump ship. Can I do that?
Of course you can.
For the first time.
Of course you can. Danny Maguire, as faithful as ever. Let's get back to Barry McDermott, Terry O'Connor and Bill Arthur.
Well, the atmosphere has been transformed. When we were leading up to this game, it was very subdued. It's not the biggest attendance you'd anticipate for a game against the champions, but the performance from Hull FC, the fact they've got 22 points on the board against the champions, has just invigorated this stadium. Certainly the Hull supporters, and the Saints fans very quiet away to our left. But James Roby back in action from the bench. Can he galvanise this Saints side? Because they need to do something, but that's good intent right from the kickoff.
Well, can he inspire them? That's the big thing, and no, one man doesn't make a team. With the experience that he's got in situations like this when they've been up against it. Well, this Hull FC side, they look determined. I thought before the game it was going to be impossible, really, with the players that were missing. And up against Saints side who were in the hat for the next round of the Challenge Cup. But what a 40 minutes from Tony Smith's men.
The worst first half performance from St Helens since they were heavily beaten by Salford last season. Here is Batchelor, and a bit of urgency from Saints at the start of this second half. They need some urgency.
As they get the ball here, it looks like this will be the only the ninth set that they have completed all match. St Helens on 9, Hull FC have doubled that total. That shows you how dominant they've been.
Davy Litton, a good claim from him for Hull FC. Laurent Fraser, assistant coach for Paul Wellens, is waiting to talk to us. Laurent, there needs to be a big improvement from the Saints in the second half.
Yes, obviously, we need a massive improvement, and the first thing we need to be better at is respect the ball. Obviously, we got too many balls, even if a few things went against us. Obviously, we need to be better and respect a bit more the ball and yeah, stick to the long game and put pressure on the opposition. That's what we want to do in second half.
And get some points on the board early in the second half as well, get some momentum.
Not really. We need to stick to the long game. You know, in rugby league you can score 4 tries in 4 minutes. So we need to put pressure and build pressure on the opposition first.
Thanks, Laurent.
Thank you.
I think it'd be difficult. I think it'd be difficult to score some back-to-back tries against Hull FC the way that they're playing, and I think they've got to be first on the scoreboard. This side. If Hull score again, I don't think there's any stopping them.
Curtis Sirenen felt that from Jack Brown. Here is James Bell. Good intensity there, isn't it?
Curtis Sirenen looks how St Helens are playing. A little bit tired, a little bit lead-legged, maybe lethargic.
Oh, talk about legged. Here goes Conrad Hurrell. No lead legs from him as he scampered through a big hole in the Hull defence then, and this has given Saints a good platform, a great platform for Bell to start the fight back from the Saints. Built on the storming run from Conrad Hurrell, and James Bell was there to finish it off. And Paul Wellens getting the response he wanted from his bristling half-time talk. Bell getting his second try of the season.
If my lip-reading skills are correct, let's not forget to play the long game. Conrad Hurrell, with a burst of energy and speed, breaks the line. And from this field position, St Helens, just players flooding through, making themselves available. Of course, the old man is at the acting half-back, chooses to find Dodd, and Wellesby puts it across the face of a couple of players. There isn't too much game plan in this. It's flooding forward, putting yourself in a position to catch the ball, and hasn't he been an outstanding signing, James Bell?
John Bennison has taken on the goal-kicking duties. No Tommy Makinson for the Saints this evening. Bennison's first duty, bang in front of the posts, and Saints start the second half exactly the way the coach would want it, 20 points to 6. We saw Curtis Sirenen struggling though, and he's off the field.
Now it's game on. They had to score first for me, and James Bell's breakthrough year. And what about that ball from Jack Wellesby, his 17th try assist this year, comes back against the grain, picks the ball, goes across Matauti. I think it's Joe Lovadua that flies in. He shoots in thinking that Matauti's going to get it, opens up the space for that man underneath the sticks.
You know, the more you watch that, the more you have to give credit to the pass selection. When they talk about playing the long game, Lauren Fresinu and Paul Wellens, they don't want the side to panic. Stick to what they're good at. Jack Wellesby there, as you can see, leading the try-assist charts. What a season he's having.
Here is Sione Matautia now. Roby and Bell, the Scottish international, the guitar-playing, versatile player. Here is Lomax. And Saints meaning business at the start of this second half. Matty Lees and Hull have got to try and contain them, have got to try and stop them from building some momentum here. Dodd, a kick into the corner. Darnell McIntosh is up above everybody else.
And that's the sort of set you'd expect from Saints, a champion side that they are. They more or less go the full length of the field. The Saints fans are up now. We were talking about Hull FC fans before getting behind their side. The Saints fans now can smell a revival.
What about the wobbles on Darnell McIntosh there? I'm sure he was thinking, I've just got to catch this ball. There's a penalty there. St Helens through Will Hopoate, a little bit high. One of the best plays in the first half for me. Savelio caused all kinds of trouble in attack and defence. They're just winning the little moments, aren't they, Hull FC? You're going to get a comeback, you're going to get a fight back from St Helens, but if they can come out on the better side of those bigger moments, then we might have a real finish to this game.
The penalty gives Hull a bit of territory. Here is Chris Satite, first half try scorer. Bell in there.
Two, move! Stay in your mark, Chris, Ignatius! Go two, Lewis, come on!
Truman, Clifford, Jamie Shaw, and Scott. A burst of play, pace from the centre. Three tackles gone. Clifford. Who's Jack Brown now?
Pinging the ball from side to side, Hull FC.
Good response, James!
Here is Clifford once more. Clifford, little stab kick, lovely stab kick. Cam Scott with the try! Clifford works his magic again.
Chasing the onside.
And this time, Jack Smith, a little check with his fellow officials. And Hull show that they are not to be subdued, not to be thrown off their mission this evening by that hint of a Saints fight back. Clifford, what a kick that was.
Yeah, and playing at speed at the line as well. Look at he drags the Saints players up. And that's a bit of bravery there from Cam Scott. Played the opening 6 rounds, then he was in and around the squad for the next 10, but that's how you play. That's the response that you're after just conceding a try the opening few minutes in the second half. You want to make sure you can put a bit more doubt in that Saints side, and that's what that try has surely would have done.
You know, this is why we love rugby league. You come to this ground thinking, well, Saints beat Hull FC last week, why bother turning up? Well, you should never judge a pie by its crust. Hull FC have come out with the right attitude, they've come out with the right game plan, they've come out with the right energy, and this is a fantastic performance from the Black and Whites.
Jake Clifford has kicked 3 from 4 so far this evening. The one he missed was a tricky one from wide out. Cam Scott's, his only other try this season was in the victory at Leeds in round 2. And Clifford is on target again. What a response this is from Hull FC. And Jake Clifford is growing in his influence in this competition now. 13 try assists to his name. Well be out in front. But as Hull have improved, Jake Clifford's role has become more important.
Yeah, and in the context of this game, in the rhythm of this game, straight after St Helens had scored through Bell, they've wrestled back the momentum, gone over the other end and scored a try. What are those voices in the St Helens heads like now?
So Saints have got to do it all again, having given an indication that they were going to maybe turn the tide. A good response from Hull FC. Let's go to the sidelines and Jenna.
Yeah, Bill, a bit of an issue for St Helens Park. I saw LMS getting some treatment on his thigh in that first half. Laddie's heavily strapped. He is likely to return. In the background there, you can see Curtis Sirinen having his hamstring iced. He is unlikely to be back in this game.
And Morgan Knowles had a bit of a knock as well, didn't it? You remember they were almost tempted to change over and put James Roby on for Morgan Knowles. Rotation affected now for Saints.
I think that 2 big carries, Jack Brown and then Chris Satay on the back of that, getting the ball stripped. And then we got a penalty. We've got a penalty now just over halfway.
Cater feeling the effects of that. Saints have already conceded the most points in a game this season with this scoreline.
You can see Johnny Lomax then, he just takes James Shaw, who's pushing up. He's coming as a runner, support runner, and he hits him on suspicion. But that comes off, scored a try, Jack Brown gets the ball, makes a dent. You can see he just hits him then.
Saints, another step, Saints, come on.
And then Chris Satay gets a penalty, then they get another penalty here.
First, off the ball, James!
Jack Brown then takes the first charge at the Saints defence.
Get away from that ball on the call.
Truman, and there's Chris Satai. 4 seasons he spent in the black and white.
Hold.
Gets to his feet, looks to the referee. Brown, there's a Saints hand in there.
Yeah, it's a knock on, isn't it? Was it Johnny Lomax who knocked the ball on?
They're going to get the ball back here again, aren't they? More possession. More possession. You can see why he does what he does. Johnny Lomax just trying to prevent. Well, it might be James Roby, actually.
Yeah, it is.
And the bounce of the ball, quite literally, going Hull's way. Jack Smith just having a word with the front rows, I think.
4, 5, 6, head in, shot clock off.
It's interesting, and Danny Maguire talked about the quality that St Helens had on the bench, and he said...
Tuimavave, sorry Barry, just for a moment, looked as though they were going to unleash Darnell McIntosh.
That might be the difference, the bench for St Helens, but Jack Brown, Chris Sate have caused real problems when they've come up.
Here is Jake Truman. Suffered that ACL injury in 2022. Hull had to wait for him to return to fitness, and he has made an impact. Here is Cam Scott again. And they are within about 6 metres of that line. Is Joe Loverdua taking his chance, maybe? No. Door is slammed in his face. Batchelor there, Lomax there. Cam Scott. Here is Clifford. Chris Satai. That's the 5th tackle. Truman. Carlos Tuimavave manages to offload. Jamie Shaw can't. Ooh, Will Hopewati is all over him.
It looked high, but I'm pretty certain he was either on his knees or on his way to the floor.
Is he smiling, or is that his gum shield?
He's probably just relieved he's not given a penalty away. There's the offload. Jamie Shaw, yeah, on his way down. Yeah, I think play on. St Helens desperate to get hold of this ball and get down the other end of the field.
Here is Will Hopewati. Missed the last 3 games, was back in the side now because, of course, Mark Percival injured. Roby had Ignatius Passy on his shoulder, but more good defence from Hull FC stops Saints' progress there. Here is Bell. Matty Lees across the field, then straightening up, looking for somebody on his shoulder maybe. Up towards the halfway line they come, over the halfway line. Roby, Dodd, Matautia.
They're trying to take some energy out of Chris Sate, and then weren't he with the first 3 plays.
Go, tackle 5.
Roby, Dodd on the last high kick. Shaw comes to make that ball his. Bags of experience from Jamie Shaw, 30 years of age. Even though this is only his 2nd appearance of the season.
Set the whole line off. You go back and play the ball properly.
Jack Smith telling him to go back to where he should be playing the ball, which was a couple of metres further back. Loverdua, oh, that's costly. That is costly. What were they doing there?
Yeah, it's
on
not
their own 10-metre line.
You get your arm free. You got to. He backs himself. It's not on though. That for me.
Ignatius Passy. This is a big opportunity for Saints. What an invitation that is.
Well, if it comes off and letting goes, it's all right. It didn't come off though.
Here's Dodd. Dodd with a little step. Dodd trying to find his way through. Danny Hout down low to stop his progress. Roby, short ball, Sione Matautia. That's good defence from Hull to drive him back where he came from.
Is there a knock-on, Bill? Again, terrific defence from Hull FC.
Listen to the jubilation from the Hull supporters.
They drive Matautia back, and in the action of driving him back, the ball hits the floor, and whilst they're pushing him, it comes loose. Great response from Hull FC.
It's Jake Truman for me. He gets up and he spots Matautia just coming on that short little tip on play, and he smothers him, and then all the players come in. Liggy south. I'm sure the Saints fans will be thinking that he's pushed that ball.
Oh, just a bit.
Yeah. Just going back to the Joe Loverdua decision to offload that ball, it hits David Litton in the stomach. So it's a different kind of pressure when you're in front. You're leading last year's champions, and doing what you've done to get yourself in that position should be what you do when you Doesn't matter where you are in the field.
Square, James.
Saints going for a shove on the scrum there. Didn't come off.
2. Out, Joe! Tackle 2. Go.
They thought they were back in the game when they got that Bell try. Benison converted. Let's build on that. But Hull have responded well.
And then through that try through Cam Scott.
4, move together, Saints. Hey, clear out. All right, mate. Hold, go 4. Outside, he's
Truman
outside.
looking for a 40-20. The referee, Jack Smith, says outside.
Only just.
Still a nice kick though, isn't it? Yeah.
Saints ball, hand over, James, where do you want it?
Jake Truman, he knows where he is on the field, but he just needs to get that angle right. Can't put the truck in reverse, can it?
When I get there, mate, yeah.
Really accomplished performance from halfbacks.
Go, James. No
The two Jakes, Truman and Clifford, have run this game for their side.
Move, Joe! Round the step here, mate. Wait.
Cater. The two are doing the tackling. Here is Conrad Hurrell, caused some devastation in the build-up to that James Bell try. They need some more of his devastating running to the Saints. Roby.
Well, they brought this one on now, haven't they, to try and soften them up with the middle. Alex Walmsley.
Get back here, come on. Go third.
Who's Dodds? Matautia. Back towards the middle of the field. 4 tackles gone.
Tackle 4, make it, Liggy. Go 4, you're okay, Liggy, you're good. Tackle 4.
He's Bell now. Bell runs into the tackling of Fash and Liggy Sow. Cater in there as well.
5, release Brad. You're going back to him. Go, play on, tackle 5.
5th tackle. And Dodd has time to pick his spot. It's high once again. Shaw waiting for it. It comes off Shaw and into the hands of Darnell McIntosh. And penalty goes to Saints.
He's watching the ball, isn't he? And at the last second looks at the players in front of him. And when he makes the mistake, it ricochets into a Hull FC player. There you go. That's the reason it's the penalty. Big set of defence from the black and whites now.
Big set for Saints to see if they can hit back once more. Here is Bell taking them on, and Hull are penalised. All offside, says Jack Smith.
Wait.
So Saints come again with Alex Walmsley. Walmsley hurling himself at the Hull defence, and they respond in kind.
Tackle 1. He's stuck in, no. Go on.
Walmsley manages to untangle himself and then glares at the referee. Lomax, lovely ball. Conrad Hurrell to T. Ritson. Ritson cannot get in the corner. There's a high tackle.
Nice shot, yeah. Oh, they were all scrambling then, weren't they? I think it's Cam Scott flies in, puts some pressure on his wingman. T. Ritson steps back inside. It's Jamie Shaw that catches him high. They were beaten then. Just sheer effort to stop them getting over the line.
Coming up to the hour mark, and Saints with a big opportunity here. Here is Matty Lees. But Fash and Lingy Sow stand in his way there. Roby. Dodd. Here is Lomax. Lomax to Conrad Hurrell once again. And Hurrell trying to use all his strength, and Litton clinging onto him. Ridson. They're going to come across the other side of the field. Roby trying to straighten things up, maybe find a gap, but Lingy Sow again. Desperate defence here from Hull FC. Back on the inside from Dodd to Walmsley. Walmsley cut down. 4 tackles gone this set. Hull back on their own try line. Another glare from the Walmsley to the referee. Little kick ahead. And it comes off Darnell McIntosh and goes for a goal line dropout.
Well, some bruising defence in that set of 6. And you can see the work from the fullback, Jamie Shaw, when he's involved in the play before this kick. He's marshalling his troops, he's getting them back. He's sending them the right side of the ruck where he wants them. And Paul Wellens know they're coming to a crucial period now in this game. Just a quarter of it to go. Up against a very confident Hull FC side.
28 points to 6, Hull lead as Clifford goes for the short one. Oh, and Davy Litton almost got there.
Knock on off Litton.
Well, he got a hand to it, And this has given Saints, it's always a risk, that one,
It's an unnecessary risk, Bill.
Here is Wormsley once more.
I don't mind that play. It's a 50-50 whether you're going to get it.
Jordan, Jamie Shaw.
Here's Roby.
Keep coming.
I agree
Lomax, Wellesby. And the crowd applauding Hull's efforts in defence there.
Come on, pal.
Lomax once more. Wormsley.
Move Jamie now.
3 tackles gone. Wormsley chuntering. Bell short ball. Matty Lees. What great defence again from Hull FC. Cervello down low this time. Roby spins the pass back to Bell. Bell to Dodd. Dodd. Little grubber kick from Dodd, and Joe Lovadua goes back.
Again, I'm going to talk about the number 29, Jamie Shaw, at the back, marshalling everybody in front of him, looking at where Saints' players are going to come from, looking at the likes of Lomax and Dodd, where they're going to be, along with Jack Wellesby, because that's your attacking, they're your attacking weapons. Great job at the back.
Into the final quarter of the game. Hull FC holding ahead of this game what would have seemed an unlikely 28 points to 6 advantage on the last. And Clifford dinks the kick, did well there because he was cornered.
All you're looking for there, you're not looking for distance, all you're looking for is the sideline. He spotted the winger had dropped back in Benison and also Jack Wellesby. He's not bothered about that. He wants to just slow the game down, reset as a group. Defensively, you've got another 6 tackles to contend with.
Play it out. No tackle.
So Saints resume.
Eyes on ball.
And they're just inside their own 40.
Dean Windass, big Hull FC fan.
Here is T. Ritson.
2 straight out, Brad. Tackle 2.
Ritson tackled just inside his own half. Is Bell now. Wormsley once more, and Cater standing his ground, and Wormsley manages to offload that. And Wellesby now. Wellesby with the run, and it's Matautia. Matautia gets the ball to Benison. Benison goes to ground.
Go third.
Truman with the tackle on him. 3 tackles gone this set. Wellesby drifting across the field. Then Bell takes the short ball.
4 away now.
4 tackles gone.
Go 4.
Wellesby once more. Lobs the ball to Conrad Hurrell. Hurrell steps infield, then gets it to T. Ritson. Ritson pirouettes, then runs into trouble. The shape of Jordan Lane is Wellesby. Wellesby floats the pass across field, and Matautia has to go back and retrieve it, and it's picked up by Will Hopewati, still on the last, and that's uncharacteristically scruffy from Saints.
They look frustrated. You just saw Jack Wellesby then, as he walked off the shot, he threw his arms up. Well, when they come over to the right-hand side, it was probably tackle 3 or 4. Johnny Lomax flashed back across because he wanted to take the ball over to the left-hand side. Seemed to be a lack of communication in that sense, especially when T. Ritson got the ball and he was just dancing around in front of the Hull FC defenders.
Well, you can see the weight of history is against Hull FC in this contest, because this is the 63rd Hull versus Saints Super League encounter since 1998, and Saints have won 42 of those 63. Hull winning just 17 times over the 25-year period, but Hull are in charge here. 28 points to 6 at the moment. Truman gets away from Matautia. Wormsley comes to make the tackle.
Heavy challenge, isn't it? James Bell.
Clifford again finding the kick, and Benison almost got away from it. Did well in the end there.
You know, Carlos Survive was desperate to keep him up as well, to try and bundle him over the sideline. He did well to get down Benison. Again, looking for that sideline. He just manages to guide it back into the field with his left boot.
It's the same kick, isn't it? We saw it a number of times in the first half. Kicking to the right-hand corner for Hull, the left-hand corner for Saints. Stacking that defence. They've stuck to the task and stuck to the game plan.
There's a high tackle on Lomax, a Saints penalty, and Lewis Dodd keen to get on with it quickly.
It's the flying mullet, isn't it? We've seen a number of young fans around the stadium with the same haircut. It's catching on, Brad Fash.
So Saints with the penalty, and it's drilled by Dodd deep into Hull FC territory. 5 apiece in terms of penalties awarded. And still time for Saints if they can build up a head of steam.
First. Move, Brad!
And they've got an opportunity here now. Hull FC being dragged back towards their own try line by referee Jack Smith, and Wormsley on the charge again.
Out together, Hull!
That headband clinging on. And again, he's furious with the referee. Here's Dodd.
He's got to be careful, hasn't he, Alex Wormsley?
It's every time on the goal line.
They're offside. Alex Wormsley's getting frustrated. If you keep shouting at the referee, you have to cast your mind back.
You can't
less than a week. You
Exactly.
cannot say anything to him.
You can't question the integrity of a match official, as Josh Griffin learned. Cost him a 7-game ban. Here is Dodd. Dodd. Lomax. Lomax's pass is wild, and Ritson does well to salvage it.
Move. Get back here. Not touching no one. Goal. You go, Joe.
Conrad Hurrell
Third. Out now, Hull.
towards the post, 10 metres or so away from that Hull FC line. Roby spins the pass out to Dodd. Dodd, Ignatius Passy. Good defence down low there from Andre Cervello. Outstanding performance from him tonight. Fash in there as well. Lomax trying his arm.
That's good inside pressure. That was it, Liggy Sal? Yeah, it was.
Goal 5.
Here is Roby. Roby puts a little kick in. The ball is swept up, and it's Clifford who is there for Hull.
Oh, great defence from Hull FC.
Go on.
To withstand a bit of an onslaught then. Saints trying to speed the game up, knowing that the scoreboard is well and truly against them. Good kick from James Roby, but Clifford anticipating that kick.
There are some very tired Hull players out there, Barry.
It feels like we've been looking to our right for the last 5 minutes. Jake Clifford had every right to watch that ball over the black line, let it go out and maybe slow the game down, but he doesn't take the risk.
Go for it.
Hull FC.
They might be physically exhausted, but at this point in the game, I'm sure they can smell, they can feel that something very special in the context of their season is about to happen.
Well, it's not guaranteed to happen yet, because it is St Helens they are playing, who might yet get their act together in this game. They came here last weekend and came away with a Challenge Cup quarter-final victory. The tables are being turned this evening. Lingy Sal wrestling with Conrad Hurrell. Here is Sione Matautia. There is number 19, Ben McNamara on. Danny Houghton has left the field. In Hull's 6 wins so far, Ben McNamara has featured in 4 of them.
4 off the ball, Brad! He's kept hold, he's kept hold.
Wormsley.
Go, tackle 4.
Dodds. Here is Lomax. Wellesby gets away from the first challenge, comes across the field, lobs the ball to Ritson. Ritson steps 1, tries to go through Clifford, but Clifford makes the tackle. It's the 5th. Roby waiting for the ball. He stabs a little kick in, and it's Clifford who picks that one up. He is everywhere.
And I don't know what's exciting the Hull FC fans more, the scoreboard or the fact that those iconic, outstanding players in St Helens shirt, it's just not happening for them. If Hull FC do manage to get their 7th win of the season, they'll overtake and leapfrog the Leeds Rhinos on the table.
If you were at 28 points to 6 up against most normal sides in a contest like this, you'd say Hull are home and dry. But this is St Helens.
Well, it sharpens the focus of every team, doesn't it? You've got to make sure it keeps you the right side of that anxiety level.
Last away from the ball, Joe!
Hull just managing to edge into Saints territory. So Clifford stabs the kick in, and T. Ritson made a play for it. It just curves back in field, and Wellesby is able to pick it up. Ankle tap by Davy Litton, Ben McNamara there to finish off, and Liggy Sal with a contemptuous final shove to send Wellesby to the ground.
Well, not much technique in that effort from Liggy Sal, and sometimes you don't need to have technique. People talk about going into contact where you should hit the man who's carrying the ball. Sometimes all you got to do is just get off the line and get your body in front and belt somebody.
Come on, get here.
Rinson trying to clear his lines. Roby determined to inspire his side, but he is brought down just over his own 30-metre line. Then Hurrell. Here is Lomax. Lomax back to Wormsley on the charge. That's the 5th tackle.
Tackle 5.
It's with Dodd, and Dodd's going to launch this one into the whole night sky. Shawley's underneath it, and Batchelor pounces on him.
He knew what was coming then, didn't he? He knew it'd be either Lomax or Batchelor that's going to be taken into ground. He's done a decent job, like I said before, Bill, just his 2nd appearance of the year, Jamie Shaw, but he still doesn't lose any of that class, and he knows exactly what his job is. Like, here he is now, took the 1st play, gets involved on the 3rd play, helping some of those forwards out. Darnell McIntosh with a carry as well.
It's fine, go 4.
There's McNamara, back it comes to Clifford, and Clifford trying to get over the top of Benison, can't do that. And the wingman puff of the cheeks, and he runs the ball back.
Move, let's get the 10, Brad, come on. Keep your work up. Go, 1.
Here's Will Hopewati.
That could have been a high shot. He just clipped him.
Wormsley is getting a breather. He has worked tirelessly for his side. Lou McCarthy, Scarsbrook on in his place. The time running out for Saints now. Here is Lomax. Lomax, short pass finds Batchelor. Batchelor, back it comes to Roby. Roby back to Lomax. Lomax to Lou McCarthy, Scarsbrook, but Lingy Sow's tackle brings him down.
Go 4.
Roby, Lewis Dodd. Dodd. Lomax with a little kick stabbed through. Benison was chasing but couldn't get it any downward pressure on it. Shaw took a gamble.
It's the extra effort, isn't it? There's 2 players in attendance. He can't get near that ball because he has to go around Darnell McIntosh. He's close.
It's a chance,
but not close enough. And when you look at the try-scoring sequence, just look at the first half.
0 coming.
Obviously, Hull FC, 6, 15, 22, 34 minutes managed to post points. But this second half has been built on defence and determination. Great work from the black and white so far.
6 years since Hull have defeated St Helens. August the 11th, 2017, that victory. It was a narrow one. And now then, here's Darnell McIntosh. Comes back in field. And the Hull fans now sensing a possibly season-rejuvenating victory here. There's lots of talk of Hull's end-of-season fade-outs, a feature of Super League in recent seasons. They won only 3 of their final 4 matches last season, 1 of the final 10 in 2021. The kick is chased by Litton. Litton has gone for another athletic finish. And the touch judge reckons it's a try. Jack Smith.
Tackle 3, Marcus.
What does he think? He thinks it's a try. A try for Davy Litton to crown this Hull FC performance. He was denied in the first half. What's Marcus Griffith's verdict on this one?
It's tackle 3. We've got an on-field decision of try. On the foot, please. Everybody to the left of the kicker is onside. So can we go through to the catch? Player gains possession of the ball. There's green between the boot and the line. And the ball. Can we just take that back just to make sure he maintains possession? So we know he remains in the field of play. Nice and slow here, please. So we're checking for separation. There is separation there between the hand and the ball. We got another angle just to confirm it comes off completely. So we're looking for separation. And one more frame. So there is separation there between the hand and the ball. Can't catch, hold and read. Great, thank you. I have a decision.
Oh no!
Wow. It's 2, isn't it?
Twice in one game, Davy Litton is going to be denied. Hull FC are at the far end of the field, ready to celebrate. They are going to be disappointed. He could not keep a grip on that ball, Davy Litton.
I think he's hard done to, I do. And the first one, without a doubt, he dropped that ball. The first one just before half-time. As he's diving, he loses control of the ball. When we watch it in slow motion, there is clear separation. This one, do you know, I don't know. I think he keeps hold of it. I think he keeps hold of it.
He's got fingertip touch.
I'm with you, lads. And it was, let's not forget, it was sent up as a try, wasn't it? It was sent up as a try. That, like Barry said, he's been hard done to that.
Well, two amazing attempts from Davy Litton, and neither yielding a try for the young winger.
I saw one in the State of Origin. I think that was more of a try than the one in the State of Origin. Was it Valentine Holmes? Sure, it was the first or the second for Queensland.
Here is Ignatius Passy. Have Saints got something left in this game? They've been in such good form. They were set for third in the table with a victory here tonight, a victory which a lot of people thought was coming their way. Set restart. Here is Louis McCarthy, Scarsbrook.
First move, get to your line, hold. Tackle one, hold, Jamie.
And Hull on their own try line. Roby, here is Lewis Dodd. Dodd on it comes to Welsby, and Welsby almost finding a way through, but Clifford makes the tackle. And there's a penalty.
Is it Matty Lees?
Somebody hit late, was it?
Yeah. I think it's Matty Lees, but I think the player that hits him is Jordan Lane.
Hit on suspicion. Yeah.
Jordan, come here.
He's normally
really careful when you come into contact your mate. In our opinion, it's the same as
rarely on the receiving end of those challenges. Matty Lees.
Yeah, Jordan Lane just getting a. Well, we see that replay. Jack Smith just had a word with Jordan Lane, come off the bench this evening for Hull FC. And he's on his own try line with his teammates, trying to defend against Saints here as Dodd throws the dummy. Ben McNamara makes the tackle. Line, says the referee. Ignatius Passy goes for it. The ball comes off him and goes forwards.
Liggy Sal, you know what, like Liggy Sal, Fash, Houghton, defensively, they have been brilliant. Look at that, just gets right underneath of Passy.
Hull fans will be saying, where has this been all season? Okay, they had that. They lost 7 in a row. Then they won 5 from 6.
It's not just a switch, is it? It's things that develop over the course of a season. Tony Smith is obviously having an effect on the squad. You mentioned the run of games and the confidence and the momentum they were starting to generate before things started to go against them. But Liggy say we make it 32 tackles he's made in the game. Brad Fash 38, Danny Houghton 36.
And they're big tackles.
Yeah.
Big tackles.
Especially Brad Fash. I think Brad Fash has dealt with all the bigger men for Saints. They've lost the ball here, some strong defence. Yeah, some strong defence here from Saints.
He's lost the ball behind his head.
Into the last 5 minutes of this game, Hull comfortably 28 points to 6 ahead.
And just going back to the forwards, it would be easy to pick a half-back, and the two Jakes have been outstanding this evening, but you can't look further than the middlemen, the men who've done all the grind, the hard work. We mentioned Fash, Houghton, Cater, Savelio.
He set the ball rolling, didn't he? Savelio's attitude early on.
He was outstanding.
Oh, the ball's been snapped up by McIntosh, and McIntosh has got a home run. McIntosh, Ritson coming across. McIntosh will beat him. McIntosh will round off this whole victory. What a night to be black and white.
That is the ball game. Hull FC on the terraces can now breathe easy and celebrate what's been a season best from 1 to 17. Great pace showed by Darnell McIntosh, but a forced mistake. Hunting in defence, intensity in the line speed, a quality pick-up. Head back, and even though T. Ritson is coming to make that tackle, There is no way he's going to deny Hull FC and Darnell McIntosh.
And again, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it again. No Swift, no Sutcliffe, no Griffin, no Hoyt, no Taylor from last week. Yeah, Percival and Makinson are missing. But Hull FC needed all the fit players, and Tony Smith down celebrating, like Barry said, 629th career game. Always said it was going to be a building process here at Hull FC. Well, what a performance to build on.
Well, a victory that will nudge them up the table above Leeds, who play Huddersfield tomorrow night. Game you can see on Sky Sports. Jake Clifford 4 from 5. If he kicks this, then it's Hull's biggest win of the season. And the Hull fans who've come here tonight, maybe some stayed at home because a bit deflated after the cup defeat, but the ones who are here at the MKM Stadium have enjoyed an inspired performance from their side. And John Wells will be joined at the touchscreen after this game by that man Jake Clifford, who has had an outstanding game, has pulled the strings for Hull FC all night. His kicking game has tormented the Saints, and that is one happy coach with a member of his conditioning team.
It must be happy. He's just give Jason Davidson some chewing gum. He doesn't give nobody nothing.
Yeah, he's lived in Yorkshire long enough, Tony has, hasn't he? Oh, and Davy Litton doing well to claim that ball.
Well taken.
Well,
what a performance this has been.
What a performance from St Helens, you'd have to say.
Well,
uncharacteristic in the number of errors.
Well, when they conceded some soft tries, especially in that first half around the post, you don't really throw accusations like that and comments like that at Saints. And Paul Wellens knows that. That's why he reacted like he did at half-time when he was addressing his team.
Well, St Helens next up for them, the Castleford Tigers. Then they've got Warrington away, and then they've got a massive game at home against the Catalan Dragons. Hull, they face the Catalan Dragons next. That'll be a test of this spirit that we have seen here tonight. And then they've got Hull KR away. So two big games coming up for Tony Smith's side. Little kick ahead from Cam Scott, finds touch. Final minute of this contest. And very few Hull FC supporters are heading for the exits. They're going to stay and salute their side.
Two markers in tight.
Meanwhile, glum faces on the sidelines. St Helens will remain 5th in the table. And their dominance over Hull FC challenged and put in its place, at least for tonight. Has still won 2 games against Saints this season. These two sides have got one more meeting to come in August. But it's what this means for Hull's season, I think, is the big question on the back of this. Yeah, can they build on this?
Massive performance, and now Tony Smith will ask the question before every game. Can you back it up?
That is the question. Lingy Sao and Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook embrace after a bruising contest. And the Hull FC supporters and their players jubilant and giving thanks for what a turnaround. What a turnaround. Beaten by this same side in the Challenge Cup quarter-final last weekend. Hull have returned to the MKM Stadium and exacted revenge. And exacted revenge in thrilling fashion as well. Congratulations all round for those wearing Hull FC colours. They've got plenty to celebrate. Saints will lick their wounds, and you can be sure somebody might pay a price for this. It won't happen 2 weeks running. Hull FC have won this one against the champions, 34 points to 6.